The box was lighter than it should have been. Cardboard thin, cheap tape, Norabin. Dad slid it across the table toward me like a bill he didn't want topiary. "Good luck out there," he said. I lifted the lid. "A one-way bus ticket, departure tonight." My sister laughed, not loud. Controlled. Practiced. The kind of laugh meant to bruise, not entertain. The room smelled like burnt candles and old coffee. 25 years distilled into a single joke. My chest tightened, but my face didn't move. I looked at the ticket longer than necessary, letting them believe it had land, that the weight of it was crushing me. I hugged Mom. She whispered, "I'm sorry." Like she always did. Too late. Too soft. I grabbed my jacket. I left without a word. They thought that was the end of me. They had no idea it was the beginning. I'd learned early how to disappear inside a room, how to become useful without being seen. My parents called it independence. My sister called it free labor. I call it survival. I paid rent at 17, groceries at 19, tuition loans. I never asked them to co-sign. I fixed their Wi-Fi, their phones, their resumes. I was the quiet one, so they assumed I had nowhere else to be. What they never asked was where the money came from. At 21, I co-founded a tech company with 2 people who knew my value without needing to break me first. We built in silence, no flashy launches, no press, just clean code, airtight contracts, and clients who paid on time. By 24, our valuation crossed 8 figures, then 9. I never told my family, not because I was hiding, because they never asked. They preferred the version of me that needed them. The betrayal didn't come all at once. It came in layers, jokes, eye rolls, comments about how I should figure my life out. But the moment my loyalty died was that box, not the ticket itself, the assumption behind it, that I was disposable, that my future was theirs to joke about, that humiliation was entertainment. I watched me sister's smile stretch too far. Dad didn't look at me. Mom folded napkins like if she kept her hands busy, she wouldn't have to intervene. That was the moment something inside me went quiet, not angry. Finished. I didn't cry on the bus. I didn't call anyone. I stared out the window and let the city bleed into blur. Silence is underrated. It sharpens everything. By the time I arrived at my apartment, yes, my apartment, I already knew what I was going to do. Not revenge fueled by rage, justice fueled by clarity. I opened my laptop. I reviewed contracts, old emails, financial transfers. My father's business, small, local, poorly managed, had been bleeding cash for years. Guess who'd quietly floated him temporary loans? Guess who'd never signed them off as gifts? Me. It pooled the documentation. Every wire, every timestamp, every acknowledgement. Then I made a call. A week later, Dad got served. Nothing dramatic. No raised voices, just a clean envelope handed to him at work. Legal language, repayment terms, deadlines. My sister called first, screaming, accusing me of being ungrateful, of turning my back on family. I let her finish, then I said, "Check your lease." Silence. Turns out the apartment she lived in, the one she bragged about, owned by a holding company. Mine. I didn't evict her. I raised the rent legally, fair market value, gave her 60 days. Mom showed up at my door that night crying, asking why I was doing this. I told her the truth. I stopped being your safety net when you laughed. The confrontation happened at mediation. Neutral room, bad coffee, worse air. Dad looked smaller, older. His voice cracked when he said my name like it was a foreign word. "I didn't think you'd take it seriously," he said. That was the most honest thing he'd ever admitted. I slid the bus ticket across the table. "I'd kept it." "You taught mesomathing that night," I said calmly. "That luck is something you wish people, and you're done being responsible for them." My sister cried. Real tears this time. Apologies stacked on top of excuses. Too late. Too loud. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. The numbers spoke for me. I walked out lighter than I'd ever felt. Not because I won, but because I stopped losing. It paid off what I owed myself. I forgave nothing. I cut ties cleanly. No threats, no drama, just boundaries enforced with signatures and silence. A month later, my company closed a funding round that made headlines. Youngest co-founder, 9 figures. Overnight success, they called it. I didn't correct them. Some stories don't deserve footnotes. Here's the truth they never understood. I didn't leave because I was weak. I left because I was done proving I was strong. The bus ticket wasn't exile. It was permission. And the moment they laughed, they signed away their place in my future. Some people teach you love, others teach you leverage. I learned both.